Over 500, baby. Over 500. 4 and 3.
Dennis, do you realize that last year it took us to week 16 to get the 4 wins? Here we are, week 7. Let's go, baby.
I'm surprised there's no 6-7 joke in there. But hey, 4-3. 4 and 3. It wasn't, gosh, it was not pretty. But we'll take 4 and 3. We'll break it down. Let's get this sucker started.
Get dialed in, Panthers fans. Here comes an in-depth look at your team. Exclusive interviews. Locker room insight. Let's huddle up for Panthers Playbook. Presented by Wake Orthopedics, a Wake Med physician practice. Here are your hosts, Dennis Cox and Chris Lea.
Welcome back to another episode of Panthers Playbook. That's Chris Lea. Dennis Cox here with you. Panthers Playbook sponsored by Wake Orthopedics. There's a lot to get into in this game, including Bryce Young leaves the game, doesn't come back. Ankle injury. Looks like it stepped on when he was trying to avoid a sack. I'm not sure if that's exactly what it was or the ankle got twisted. Dave Canales is a little coy with it post-game. Defense, awesome. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Yes, there's a win. Are you satisfied with how the team played today? There's a difference. You can be happy that they won, but still not satisfied with how they got there, Chris. But let's focus on the positive. The defense did exactly what it was supposed to do against a bad offense. Plain and simple. The defense did exactly what it was supposed to do against a bad team.
Is
Props
this
to the defense? Is
this the part of the podcast where I'm supposed to say, the Panthers won, all is well, everything looks good, it's amazing? Okay.
Yes.
I got it out the way. Defense was great, though.
Defense was awesome.
We're definitely going to start with the positives.
Yes.
And I think it was cool seeing the 2 interceptions basically was him robbing Josh Reynolds.
Mm-hmm. And
that shows why you need to put him on the other team's best receiver who's available. Garrett Wilson was not playing today. And, I thought Mike Jackson had a really good game himself, but
had a pass breakup in the end zone himself. Yeah.
JC Horn has the closing speed. I mean, he was beat in the end zone, and that probably should have been a touchdown for the New York Jets, but he came away with that one-handed interception, and then he was able to rob him again in the fourth quarter. And so it was cool seeing the way that they were able to get together. Also, I mean, the Jets are not good, but
they're not.
Being able to get 6 sacks when before this you only had 5 for the entire season. I mean, this was a get-right game. This is the type of game that bad teams used to have on the Carolina Panthers. Now the Carolina Panthers are having to get-right games against other teams. And so being able to walk away with 6 sacks, I thought EJ Evero had a really good game calling plays himself as far as getting certain pressures, getting certain blitzes at certain times. It was a blitz that Trevin Merrick was able to get his sack on.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see those things and kind of like switch things up. This is one of those games where you use a tape, you build on it. How can you replicate this as much as possible against the better teams? You're going to have Green Bay coming up in 2 weeks. You have Buffalo coming up next week. So how can you help try to replicate that against those types of teams? But great job by the defense. This is probably outside of, I don't understand still some of the soft coverage and situationally, I don't understand why you're letting the Jets get behind you in certain circumstances. But I thought this was the best, performance from the Panthers defense that I've probably seen in a while.
Yeah. Phenomenal overall, because only 81 yards rushing total for the New York Jets in this game, which is great. Derrick Brown gets 2 sacks. Nick Scorton gets his first sacks of the year. He had a sack and a half. Princely Umamielen, half sack. Trayvon Merrick, like you said, had a sack in there as well. Whom else am I missing that also had a sack today? A'Shaun Robinson. A'Shaun Robinson had a sack today. So you're getting sacks from guys on different parts of the field. Like, they're used in different ways, which I think was a great thing to see, because the Jets the Jets offensively last week gave up 9 sacks over in London. Now they gave up 6 this week. So that's what you want. And you expect when you're going against a bad team to have a game like that. I will say on JC's first interception, it looked like he was set to play underneath coverage because Nick Scott was over the top. So it looked like he was set to have the underneath coverage, I guess you can say. Like, hey, safety's coming over the top to help me. I play underneath, and it ended up working out. But overall, that was the bright spot of this game. the Jets couldn't do anything. Now, Jets are a terrible team, but you also have to make terrible teams look terrible. And that's what the Panthers did defensively. On the other side of the ball, though, Chris, this is where we get into the question marks. Going forward, the hell was up with the offense today? What the heck was up with that offense today? That was putrid. When the running game isn't going, we'll talk about Bryce Young and the injury and all that stuff here and what that might mean down the line. But if the run game ain't going, Bryce is just average. Plain and simple. He's
First
just
off, average. I want to start with Dave Canales.
Like, well, that's a big part of it too. Like, let's go there. Let's go there.
I was worried during the week. I didn't want to say it out loud because I just wanted to see what was going to happen today. But during the week, you had Jake Delhomme going crazy over him, like, oh, even Luke Kuechly said he didn't know what was going on. Told me that Dave Canales is a good play caller, and everybody started tweeting how good of a play caller Dave Canales really is. And I don't know if he saw that. I don't know if he got to him or whatever, and he was just trying to throw some razzle dazzle at some people today. But I understand going back and forth, every other series with your running backs. Why didn't Rico Dowdle start? Also, you had situations where you're trying for these certain plays on first down when you could just run the ball and then you end up being behind the sticks. Now you have to continue to throw. And we've talked about, when Bryce Young is dropping back, if he didn't get injured in this game, he would have thrown more than 30 times. That is a recipe for disaster for the Carolina Panthers.
He had 25 passes by the time he left in the middle part of the third quarter. He threw the ball only 25 times at the whole game last week.
That would have been a disaster for the Carolina Panthers. And so it's one of those things where, I don't know if he was trying to get too cute with things, but clearly when you're trying to go inside zone or you go toss plays or different things like that with Rico Dowdle, things end up working out a little bit more. I know that Chuba Hubbard's coming off of injury, so he may not be as fresh. He's still probably trying to get his bearings and maybe not trusting his calf or his legs as much right now. But, this wasn't Chuba Hubbard's finest day. And if we didn't have Rico Dowdle in this game, Jets may have gotten their first win, no matter what the defense did on the other side, just because the offense may not have been able to stay on the field. It was not a good-looking day for the offense as a whole. Rico Dowdle, with the opportunities he had, looked really good. Shout-outs to Xavier Legette.
Yo,
my man had a game.
Good day
today, really
Zach.
Good game. And this is a good bounce-back game for him, and this is the kind of game that you want to see from somebody who's supposed to be your number two. Coker came back. Teteroa McMillan didn't really have, a lot of opportunities because he was, kind of getting locked up there. So Xavier Legette responded, and that's what you want to see from your guy. But I think a lot of this really starts with the play caller / head coach, Dave Canales, because I don't think he had his finest day today.
This is where we talked about over the last few weeks about what's sustainable for this team and what's sustainable for the offense. We've seen the offense over the last week cook with Rico Dowdle. Absolutely cook with Rico Dowdle. But it took two of the best performances by a running back in Panthers history to make the offense look like it did the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then today he had, again, 17 carries, 79 yards. That's a 4.6 yard average. It's a solid day. But if they're not running at a high clip, again, it's just kind of there. The offense. It was just average in this sense. I understand the mindset of, okay, why did Rico didn't start? A lot of football coaches have the mindset of you don't lose your starting spot because of injury. I totally get that. That's why Chuba Hubbard goes out there for the first series. But that doesn't mean you can't feed Rico more during the course of the game. Simple as that.
We didn't even see a lot of two-back sets. I was hoping that we'd see that. And when you did see two-back sets, it was with Trevor Etienne.
Yeah, it was with Etienne. I was like, why aren't you using? I think it was one the fourth down play, or maybe it was the third down play. I can't remember what it was, where Chuba was lined up as the fullback and Rico was the tailback and kind of an offset eye. And they did that one time, but I'm wondering why. You mentioned with Canales, it's like, why don't you continue to do the things that are working for you? That's the big question. Is that you don't have to make it rocket science.
Yeah.
You just don't have to. Don't go paralysis by analysis. This is like my coach used to say. When you're overthinking stuff too much, by Canales. When you're overthinking things too much. And some of the play designs and stuff that were out there with like some of the fake toss and kind of roll out, I was like, I don't know what the intent was here. It was just sometimes too complex is actually debilitating.
Yeah.
It really can be. It's like, you know what? Like you said, Chris, inside zone, toss play for Dowdle. Make it work because it can. Even though you're without Damian Lewis today, which, again, that's we haven't really addressed the fact that you're down Damian Lewis today. But you had Austin Corbett come back and start at left guard. It was
okay.
a reason why Damian Lewis is a starter.
It was okay.
It was yeah.
He caused the sack.
Yeah.
That Bryce got hurt on, but
yes, and also even down there in the red zone on that very first drive, it's just he went the wrong way. I know Mark Slayer pointed out, it's like he pulled and Grady Christensen pulled, and then they ran into each other. I was like, well, based off how everyone else was blocking and where the running back was trying to go, Corbett screwed up on that play, plain and simple. But there are things about the offense that I still don't know are sustainable long term.
Yeah.
Again, you just played the Dolphins, the Cowboys, and the Jets. 3 of the worst defenses in the entire NFL. Like 3 of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I know the Panthers are sitting out at 4-3. We'll see how the rest of the games all shake out during the course of the rest of the NFL Sunday and Monday. And we'll see where they stand after this. But when you, like you said, when you got to play Buffalo, if you have that offensive performance against Buffalo, you're getting blown out.
Oh, hell yeah.
You're getting blown out because Buffalo's going to move up and down the field.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. You go up against the Packers, you're getting blown off the field in that kind of game. And then reality is really going to hit you. The one thing I hope that this team doesn't do is that, hey, look, just because we won, that means everything worked and everything's okay. That's something that we want to try and cautious people about because we're keeping the same energy that we had last week, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
We really are. We're keeping that same energy because if it eventually does get to that point, we're gonna say, all right, we were here the whole time. This is so I still have major questions about Canales. I still have major questions about Bryce because before Bryce got hurt, it's not like he did anything special.
Yeah. And
he didn't. He underthrows a pass that should have been a touchdown to Xavier Legette. They had to settle for a field goal.
Mitchell
he
Evans
underthrows it.
Mitchell Evans saved him also on his first down catch where he basically threw it in the dirt and Evans was able to, get it, before it hit the ground and run for a touchdown. 15 for 25, 138 yards, 88.4 passer rating. Here's the thing too. And I guess I'm kind of coming to Bryce's, defense here.
Mm-hmm.
When Dave Canales was first hired,
yeah.
And those first few press conferences where he's talking about his style, what he wanted, Bryce Young to do, he kept saying 2.3 seconds, get the ball out. And so I assumed, and look, this may be Bryce's fault, but also I don't think that the play calling is helping him. I assumed that there will be some of these easy kind of dink and dunk type of passes, but quickly to get to open receivers or a tight end or a running back or whatever. And that's not the case. When we talk about Bryce Young averaging less than 10 yards per attempt, that's him dropping back, looking, surveying, figuring out, then going with the safe option. There's rarely it snapped, I'm going to make the quick decision. This is designed to go here to get quarterbacks in, a rhythm without it being a screen. I mean, sometimes, you have the Dave Canales screen and it doesn't quite work. Although there's a few screens that work today. Chuba Hubbard had a pretty good one today.
Chuba had a nice one. Yeah.
I'm wondering where some of those plays are. It doesn't feel like Bryce is ever being put in a position to be in a good rhythm as a passer, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then also, like, I don't think that the running backs were ever in a good rhythm today with the back and forth and all of that. Here's also where I'm concerned going forward. What is the status of Bryce Young?
That's a great question.
Because I don't know if I trust Andy Dalton as the starter. We know that he could probably throw for 350 yards potentially, depending on, what's going on.
He's done
it. Does that mean a win? I don't necessarily think so.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know if the Red Rocket's doing that anytime right now. I can tell you that.
when we
Not
were
at this
talking
point in his
about
career.
this a few weeks ago, and I was just saying, like, this is where the Panthers, I was like, Panthers need to get somebody like a Tyrod Taylor to back up Bryce Young.
Mhm.
But this is where they absolutely need somebody who can push Bryce. And not only somebody who can push Bryce, but somebody that if Bryce were to go down, you get the feeling of like, oh, I don't know if I want that guy stepping on the field. He's still a backup, but man, if he gets hot, he can do something. Because that's what I felt when Tyrod Taylor came on. His receivers and his offensive line failed him today because everything around him is bad.
It's a bad team.
And also JC Horn just happened to make 2 amazing plays.
Great plays.
But other than that, like everybody around Tyrod Taylor, absolutely failed him. This is something that I guess looking forward, if you're figuring out if you want to go at Bryce, cool, bring somebody in who could potentially take his spot, or don't go at Bryce. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to figure out how to push that. And they talked about getting competition at every spot. They haven't given Bryce real competition yet. And I think that's going to be better for Bryce in the long run, honestly, if you decide that he is the guy.
Yeah, that's a long-term question, but looking in the short term from, after this win going into the next week is what is his status, for next week, because what's Bryce, if there's an area of the game where I think Bryce excels at, and from a physical standpoint, is he actually is pretty good on rollouts and throwing on the run. He's actually is pretty good at that in my eyes. That's where I think he actually does excel. And Dave Canales talked about run game, pass game, feeds off play action, bootlegs, and all those kinds of things. If he's limited with his mobility with the ankle, now he has to stand in the pocket, which I don't think that's not his forte.
No,
it's just not. It's just not his forte. But we will say this about when Dalton came in, the offense really didn't look that much different.
No.
Like, it really didn't in terms of its effectiveness. It really didn't look any different. I think that's a blessing, I guess you could say, the fact that you don't have to limit what you call with Andy Dalton in there. So if Dalton does have to start against Buffalo this coming Sunday, again, we'll see what, Bryce's status and all that is. But
I feel like that looks different, though, if we know Dalton comes in as a starter.
Yeah, it is. Very true. Very true. But I don't think that I don't think the offense is going to change, is basically what I'm saying. I don't think the offense changed, because we saw when Dalton came in last year, when Bryce got benched, offense started actually lighting it up a little bit.
Yeah, he was airing
last year.
He was airing it out.
We'll see what Bryce's status is. It didn't look like anything crazy. I know he got stepped on the play, but Chris, I don't know. It just didn't seem like a whole lot. It just really didn't.
It didn't. They played the shot of him walking back to the locker room. It didn't look like he had much of a limp. I also said that 2 years ago, when he was down with an ankle injury in week 2 or week 3, whatever.
Yeah, I was going into week 3 against Seattle.
But me and you, was it me and you walk right past him in the locker room, or was it just me by myself?
Well, he was in Seattle.
I'm talking about the game that he played, and then afterwards we heard it was an ankle injury. I think.
You were there.
I was in the locker room, and there was no limp there. And again, a little. You could tell it was a little ginger, but it didn't feel like somebody who may not play, but then you have to see what happens tomorrow. Like, usually those things get worse like the next day or 2 or whatever after that. So I hope it's better, but I think also like this also exposes the weakness of the Panthers quarterback situation behind Bryce Young. So and I'd also wonder what that looks like potentially for Hendon Hooker. Shout out to Greensboro.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
We'll have to wait and see as the week goes along. But hey, Chris, again, 4-3.
Above 4-3, baby.
Above 500.
Above 500 for the first time since week 5 of 2021. 3-game winning streak for the first time since week 3 of 2021. Yeah, I mean, this is all good. And right now, the next stretch of games, Buffalo, we'll see what ends up happening with them. And we'll see what ends up happening with Green Bay. Those teams are better teams, but it feels like those are teams that can be beat if you play the game the right way. But if you lose the next 2 weeks, I'm not going to be upset, especially if you don't get blown out. Don't get blown out. Any of those games. But then you also have the Saints. You got to win that one. right?
Yeah.
Because you got to make the layups. And so you got to win that one. So there's a chance that you can come through in the first 10 games of the year and be at 5-5. That's a really good position to be in at that point of the year. And then so from there on out, then you see what happens for the rest of the year. See if you can get some wins, maybe potentially knock off Tampa Bay, maybe once, maybe we'll see. Maybe have a good showing on the road at San Francisco. That's a team that's kind of had some weird issues going on as well.
Major injuries over there.
So you just never know what could happen. So I think this is a good game to build off of, especially on the defensive side. I think this is a game on the offensive side where you look at it, notice what you did wrong, throw it away, and get back to what you did right. And that is run the ball with Rico Dowdle. And quiet as kept, Mitchell Evans might be tight end number 1. Mitchell Evans
might talk about that a little bit more this week. Might talk about that just a little.
Tight end number 1.
Bit more. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Let you know your thoughts on this game. Shout out to Wake Orthopedics, our sponsor. If you have not subscribed, make sure that you do so. Chris, 4 and 3. It's weird being above 500. I don't know how to react.
It's so weird.
I don't know how to react to it because
I love it.
Wait a second. I know it's like I look at the standings and I'm like, well, wait a second. There's a lot of other teams that have 4 wins that are, like San Francisco has 4 wins, Seattle has 4 wins, Detroit has 4. Again, to Chicago, but again, that's as of us recording this right now. But still, Mike.
Yeah.
Weirder things have happened.
Let's enjoy it, man. Hey, listen.
Weirder things have happened.
At this point, we're gonna have more happier Mondays in this season than sad Mondays. Crazy.
Think about that, people. Think about it.
Crazy. Man.
I love it. Again, I love that it's 4 and 3. Doesn't mean you have to be satisfied with how the game played, but you can still love the result. That's the thing that matters. It's the result. Chris, see you on Thursday.
On to Victory Monday.